Well, welcome everyone. Want to welcome you to another edition of Senior Showcase, where we highlight a wonderful graduate from the class of 2020, and honored to have Aidan Dunican with us here today. How you doing, Aidan?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Great, great. Thank you for joining us. If you wouldn't mind, kind of take a minute and describe what you've been up to over the last year or so with us.
Well, I'm
Not year or so, 4 years. What have you been doing at PR? So what you've been involved in. Sorry about that.
Okay. So I've obviously been playing football for 4 years at PR. I've been part of obviously the 3 state teams. Obviously, sadly, not getting this last one, which hurts, but it's in the past now, obviously. And then also I did wrestling for the past 2 years, and I played baseball my freshman year.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. So if you look back on, let's take the sports side of stuff. If you look back on, you had mentioned the state championship teams and state qualifiers. What have been some of the coolest memories you've had over the last 4 years in sports?
Being able to experience like the first state championship in 2016 with my brother, that was really something special. Just actually being seeing what he's gone through, like all the three, like every year that he's been in high school, and then finally actually being able to step up and join him in his journey was just a really cool experience that I wouldn't want to take back at all.
Yeah, I can imagine that was pretty cool. So that was you were a freshman that year?
I was, yeah.
Yeah, and that was pretty cool. So you got to be called up and join your brother and celebrate that with them. Outside of that time, what are some of the individual games that you look back on and go, those were cool? Those are the ones that when I'm an old fart sitting in a rocking chair, I'm going to be telling my grandkids about that game.
I would say almost like every single playoff game this year, just because what we would have to go through leading up to that game with the weather, with having to shovel our field, and just like all those games, just like leading up through the playoffs, just how hectic that practice was. It was nothing like I've experienced like in the past years. Like it was just such a new experience, and it was really cool just to just have to deal with and just get over with.
Hey, so for people that don't know what you're referring to, because someone might see this video 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and go, what's he talking about? Give a little description about what was going on with the weather and the field and what you guys had to do.
Obviously, it started off with just a huge amount of rain, leaving our field just completely just covered in mud. You barely could stand on it, and also what was it? The first with the snowfall that came in just right before our game, having just it cover the entire field and make it where it's almost unplayable because you couldn't see the lines or anything. Having to get out there after a long or not too long of a practice, but just having to get there and during the school day, shoveling and squeegeeing our field just so that it was dry enough to play on for Saturday, and then it still warming up and then cooling right back down to where it froze the field. That was another experience right before Prairie that we had to deal with.
So then talk about that Prairie game. What the field was like for that?
Almost it was rock hard, except for maybe the first very top of it was mud, and maybe the right underneath it was just all frozen solid. So it was just running on slippery ice the entire time.
So obviously we got the weather's going to play a big role in kind of your memories. What are some games for what was happening on the field that were just real cool, either with a rival or with another team? I mean, what were some of those cool memories?
I don't think I can forget the play that happened back in, 2017 with Sampson scoring that last touchdown against Prairie to have us continue in the playoffs. That was the biggest emotional roller coaster that I have ever experienced, just going from where we're stuck with 17 seconds left thinking, oh, this is it, we're screwed. I don't know if we're going to be able to go to state this year. And then Sampson just running down the sidelines like that was something to behold.
Yeah, what do you remember about the time with your teammates and celebrating that?
I don't think I've ever seen, other than winning a state championship, I don't think I've ever seen more excitement and just like joy out of everyone, because at that time all of us were so drained of like just right before it happened, we were so drained and just so hopeless, just not really sure what was going to happen with this game, because we were, what was it, third down and all that, or
Yeah.
fourth down, just we were so worried that we weren't going to figure it out, and just seeing that all of us were just so excited, and just it was something else.
Yeah, and I think was your brother back for that game yet, or did he came back for state though? I think, right?
I think he came back for state. He might have. I don't think he was back yet.
Got it. Now, why don't you take a moment, since we're talking about your brother, to kind of introduce your whole family, tell us about them, what they're doing, where they're at,
Hmm.
etc.
So my dad works in insurance, funny enough, and he's obviously the main household guy. And then my mom's just became a teacher, certified as a teacher, so she's gone through her first full year of teaching this year, which has been something to watch.
Oh, cool.
And
Where's your mom teaching?
she's teaching third grade, so she's had a lot of work to do.
Where's she teaching at?
South Elementary.
Oh, cool. So she started that this past year?
Yeah, she's been subbing for a while, and then last year they had her step in for like a teacher that was gone, and then they asked her to come back and teach.
Terrific. Now, and then we got your brother. So tell us what your brother did, where he's at.
My brother is studying at University of South Carolina and he's a junior or now he's going to be a senior in college, and he's studying international business.
International business, nice. So did your brother stay down in South Carolina when the quarantine hit, or did he come home?
He was actually in Germany right before it hit, so he was
Wow.
studying abroad, and he came back here quarantined for a while once he came back from Germany, and then he went down there so that he could take some of his classes, because he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to take his classes from home, because they were in Germany when he was taking them. So he went back down there, and he actually just came back yesterday.
So he went back to South Carolina.
Yes, yeah.
Got it. And so you've had many a visit down there as well, right?
Not as many as I would hope, because most of the times when my parents get to go down there and see him is during football season. So I always have to take the sacrifice and stay at home and
Take one for the team.
Yep, stay at home and while they're down there. So
with that being said, what's in store for you next year? Where are you going? What are you doing? What's studying?
So I'm going to University of Illinois, and I'm studying electrical engineering there.
Sweet. So what made you tell us what went into that process for you to decide on U of I and electrical engineering,
Yeah.
and who else was in the running?
Leading up right before my decision, I don't even, at first I didn't really consider University of Illinois, because at very first I didn't really get into the program I wanted. And so I was actually looking at like LSU and University of Wisconsin as my main schools, and Nebraska. But then I got an email from them saying that they had an opening in their program, so I got into that and I chose. I mean, with them being one of the best schools for electrical engineering, I chose to go with them just so I would have just the best education that I can get.
Awesome. So it was a matter of the program you wanted that kind of led to your decision.
Definitely.
So tell us about, have you selected a roommate, what hall you're going to be living in, etc.?
I have selected a roommate. I found one over Facebook, using Facebook, and but I haven't selected like dorms or anything, because they're still, with everything going on, they're still waiting on waiting just to see what the situation is going to be in the fall before they start assigning housing. So I think I'm going to be picking housing soon, but I'm not exactly sure.
Where's your roommate from?
He's from he goes to Stevenson, so he's not too far from here.
Okay, so have you met him yet?
I have not met him in person, but I've FaceTimed him a couple times and all that. So.
Okay, what kind of what program's he in?
He's going to be doing mechanical engineering. So.
Good. So you guys could spend like you both could be up till 4 a.m. studying.
Pretty much, yeah. Working on calculus or something.
There you go. So pretend it's 10 years from now, okay? You're now 28 years old.
Oh.
Where are you? Where are you living? What's your job? What's your career? Just tell us about that.
Obviously, I want to be an electrical engineer, so I guess I would see myself somewhere either Colorado or the Pacific Northwest or like California, because that's where so many huge tech startups are, and also where just the main like electronics companies like Intel and all that. Like I could see myself just moving out there because of the job availability and all that. So yeah.
Is that a part of the country you also like?
I do like it. I really like the look of it, so I would not mind moving out there.
Okay. Well, your parents are originally not from the Chicago area, right?
Yeah, they're both from New York.
And they're from upstate or not the city, right?
They're not from the city. They're more part of the southern part. They're not too, they're about an hour or an hour and a half outside of the city.
So do you still have family out that way?
A few. Most have moved away because just how expensive it is to live in New York. But my grandfather lives there for most of the year, and my uncle and my cousins live out there. So I have a fair amount of family that still live out there.
Okay. So were you born in the Chicago area or were you born out east?
Yeah. I'm the only one in my family that was born in Illinois.
Oh, okay. So Peter was born out east?
No, he was actually born in Georgia.
In Georgia. So obviously your dad's traveled with his job.
He was I think at the time he was in Georgia because he moved out there because he was in the military.
Yep.
So he was mostly in like the southern part, like Florida and Georgia is where he was. And then when he left the military, they moved out to like Atlanta and all that.
And your dad is a Navy veteran, correct?
Yep, he is.
And how long was your dad in the Navy?
He was in there for 4 years.
For 4 years?
Yeah.
Very cool. And so Peter was born while he was still in the Navy?
No, he was born right after they left. He left the Navy, a few years after he left the Navy.
Okay, nice. And so, well, I'm going to speak for is your family planning to stay in Illinois? Or are they looking once you guys are out to follow you guys somewhere?
They kind of want to leave. They do not. they do not see themselves retiring here at all. So they're hoping to either move out south, mostly down south is what they're thinking because they enjoyed living down south when they were here. There.
And I'm sure after they visited that South Carolina campus, they're pretty excited about what South Carolina looks like.
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely looking for somewhere that is not Illinois that's a little bit more warm during every part of the year.
So, and I don't recall if you answered this. So I know U of I was what other schools were also high on your list when you were looking?
LSU, University of Wisconsin, and Nebraska.
That's right. So LSU, because they have a good double E program, or you just fell in love with the football team, or what?
No, they have a good engineering program that's pretty new that they've started to work on. They've started to build up their engineering program. So I was looking into that with it being a new program and just having it also be pretty well renowned and pretty good in terms of like the business sectors and all that. But I couldn't really turn down my offer that I was given.
Okay, terrific. And have you visited all those campuses, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Illinois?
I was going to visit LSU, but I wasn't able to. But I visited every other campus before the quarantine, so I saw all of them, yeah.
Okay, cool. So what are you most excited about U of I?
Just meeting new people and all that, just starting to just move on with the next chapter of my life, seeing as everything that I know is now going to be completely different with college and just being able to learn what I want to learn finally and all that.
So tell me about what you went through. Well, first, I know you got injured in wrestling, right?
Mm-hmm, I did.
So what was your wrestling career like? Tell me about that.
It was pretty rocky. I mean, my first year I was convinced by Coach Smith, who was he was an offensive line coach with Coach Shrimp. He talked to a bunch of the O-linemen and all of us and said that I really think that it'd be a really good opportunity for us to just work out during the off season and just get stronger. And so I did that, and I met a lot of really good guys on the wrestling team. So I decided to, without just with I guess against my better knowledge to
Against your better
to do it
knowledge.
the second year, and that ended up with me tearing my labrum during a match and all that.
Now, did you realize you did it when it happened, or was it kind
Yeah.
of a? Oh yeah.
Well, sort of. So it kind of happened over 2 matches because the first one, it just felt like a stinger in my shoulder, and I just really couldn't like do a whole lot at first, but it felt better like the next day. So I was practicing and all that. It wasn't great, but I was like, oh, I just kind of strained it or something, and it's not too bad. And that's where I made my mistake wrestling again. Like 2 days later, and I just landed on my elbow, and I knew from there I just messed it up pretty bad.
So did you have to have surgery?
I did, yes.
And was it? You said it was your left hand.
Left shoulder, yeah.
Now you're a righty.
I am, yes.
Okay, so at
That was
least
the lucky
that.
part.
Yeah, so it was. How's recovery and such?
Oh, it was pretty brutal. So just physical therapy is being 2 times a week. You wouldn't think it would take as much out of you as it does, but just the amount of just how weak your shoulders are, you barely can lift like a pound over your head or anything. Or you can't. I couldn't even lift my hand above my shoulder for the longest time. And so just working every day, just freeing up like scar tissue and all that, and just putting it in areas where it does not want to go it was so rough just to go through the entire time.
Well, okay, so I'm gathering you're not going to be getting on a mat anytime soon.
No. I'm barred by the doctors from any contact sports for a while now, seeing as
So
they want it to heal.
do you feel like your back recovered yet?
I'm really weak right now. I mean, I just finished like actual physical therapy where it's guided by like a physical therapist, but now I just have to actually build up my strength, which 10 pounds, which I've never actually had a problem with, and that was like one of the heaviest things to me. So I'm struggling with that. So I'm just rebuilding my strength and trying to get healthy so I can just get back into weightlifting and all that.
Okay. Now you got a bunch of paraphernalia on the wall there behind you. What do you got up there? I could see.
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna guess, are the Bears your favorite team or is someone
They
else?
are, yes, they are.
Okay. So you got a Bears poster. You got a couple. You got your. You saved your stickers off your helmet. Is that what that is?
Yeah. I saved my stickers, and then I have the news clippings that they would give us that they had for us at after we won state. So I have those hung up and all that.
And then you got some medals hanging there. Are those the state championship medals or are those other
they
ones?
Are.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the state championship.
Okay, cool. Now, tell me about the quarantine. What was going on? What were you looking forward to kind of as the senior year was wrapping up? Tell me about what you went through. I know you're going through therapy, so you weren't playing intramurals or anything, but
yeah, obviously I was at that time with AP tests coming up, I was more focused on school right before it hit because I'm just trying to get as many college credits as I can before I go off. And so I was really focused on that. And also just, I was just enjoying just because it was wrapping down the school year. I was just enjoying being able to have like less homework and just more time to hang out with friends and all that. And with obviously the quarantine hitting, that was kind of taken away, forcing everything to be rethought. But I was just looking forward to like all the extra, like, because all the teachers have like plans for seniors, like, oh, we're going to do once this day hits, you'll finally be free and you'll be able to do all this stuff. But with that not happening, it kind of threw a wrench in their plans. So
sure. Now, what have you done to stay connected with your classmates?
just talking to them over like Snapchat and all that, that's a big thing. And video games, no surprise, are a good way to keep in contact with a lot of people.
So what's been the video game of choice?
Call of Duty and 2K.
Call of Duty and 2K. All right. So we've got this 2K controversy amongst all the football players. So
yeah.
So, where would you fall on this side? Is it the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball that dominates?
I would have to say defense, to be fair.
Oh, okay. Because I know just yesterday we had Mr. Matrin on, and he was sharing more about how they've kind of him and Keegan have dominated everybody. So I don't know where the truth is in all this.
Yeah. I haven't played them before, so I don't know about that.
I'm thinking that maybe you're the wild card to help the defense then to
Yeah,
get
I
it
guess.
going. So who have been, give a shout out to the guys you've been playing with online.
Sam Ripple, I played a couple times with. I play with a lot, so I don't play with a whole lot of people. I mean, I play with a lot of people from. I play with some people out of state that I haven't been able to keep, like, just to keep in contact, like with old friends, just that I don't hang out with a lot or I can't hang out with. I use it a lot for that. Just I don't talk to them as much, so I just use it to catch up with people mostly.
Oh, cool. Are these people that you used to know here from Crystal Lake, or?
Yeah, there's some of my good friends from like elementary school and middle school, but one of them moved away to like Utah and all that, so that's the only way I can keep in contact with people like that. So
Oh, that's fun. So, have there become any Dunican family traditions now during the quarantine? Anything that you've been doing with your family that's different from before?
not really. It's been pretty boring around here. My parents do their work, and we hang out as a family after, like, during dinner and all that. But nothing has really changed a whole lot,
So, has
other
there
than like
become? I'm
free
sorry.
time and what people are doing, like outside of being at home. Considering most of the time everyone's home, so that's something else.
So, have there been any kind of takeout fallbacks where these are the places you guys have been ordering food from more than others, or?
Actually, yeah, my parents some reason are we're eating more sushi than we normally do, so we just like order like takeout sushi a lot, which is weird because normally I have to beg them to like go to a sushi place, but now we're just ordering it, which is really nice. I enjoy it. I have no complaints, but it's just completely different than what I'm used to.
So, what are your sushi go to places?
Uh, Plate and Tasty Sushi. So
Now, where are those at? I'm not familiar with them.
I think one's in the Lake in the Hills, or actually no, one's Tasty Sushi's in Cary, and I think Plate is over in Algonquin. So
So, do you have a favorite sushi? Is it the ahi tuna, the salmon? I mean,
I
what's
love
your
spicy
go-to?
tuna.
Spicy tuna.
Yeah.
So with now when it's spicy tuna, what else is on that?
Um, it can change a lot, but normally like it's just the rice and the spicy tuna, like which is just like spicy mayo and the tuna, and then sometimes there's like they
A
put
was
tuna on top, but other than that,
I wasn't sure if they put a wasabi or something like that
no,
on there.
they just do like their own spicy blend that they make for their tuna.
Okay, all right. So you are the first sushi vote, I think, out of all the interviews that I've done
Okay.
so far. Even though people have probably done it, you're the first one to talk about it. How
Yeah.
about how about from a binge watching standpoint?
Ooh.
Any shows?
I've been watching Psych a lot.
No, I'm not familiar with that one. What's Psych on? What's that about?
So it's about a guy and his best friend. He's a psychic detective, but he's actually just hyper observant, and so he just helps the police department solve a bunch of crazy cases that they can't solve, and just by his observation skills and all that. So it's pretty interesting. It's pretty funny.
Now, is that on Netflix or Prime or where
It's
is
on
that?
Prime. Yeah,
Okay, okay. So that hasn't been on any other network. It's a new show.
it's actually pretty. It's a pretty old show. It's completely run through, and so I've just been watching because I haven't watched it. I've been convinced to watch it, so I've been pretty obsessed with it in the past few weeks.
Now, is that just you or are your folks getting into it too?
No, just me.
Okay. Any others?
Um, we've been watching just a lot of Netflix shows, like the Marvel shows on Netflix, just to pass time because there's nothing else really on TV at the moment.
Yeah, there's only so many reruns
Yeah.
or Korean baseball that you could watch. Yes, right. So, so you've got when you look back on your teachers, coaches, people that you've encountered over your
Mhm.
last 4 years, who are the ones that really stick out and you're like, man, they huge
Mhm.
impact on my life. Really loved spending time with them.
Yeah. Well, as far as coaches go, I would say the two coaches that have made like a huge impact on me are Coach Smith and Coach Dunker. Coach Dunker was just really fun guy to hang out with. Just always he made practice a lot lighter on the defensive line side. So we would just get, with everything else going, always like being yelled at by Coach Pete. No offense, Coach Pete, but we're with always just the hectic, just always focusing and focusing. It was nice with Coach Dunker. We could just sit like, I will admit, defensive line may be the easiest position on the defense in terms of practice, because there's a lot of times where we're just standing around running over plays. So during that time, there's a lot of times where we can just like take a break and just joke around with Dunker and just have fun during practice and like just lighten things up. And as far as Coach Smith goes, with convincing me to just open up my mind for new challenges, having me like convincing me to join wrestling and staying with wrestling, it's just really, he just really kind of helped me grow as a person, just being more open in terms of like what I should do, and know that like even though there's something I may not want to do necessarily, it could be good for me in the long run.
Nice. So when you think about those football practices, since you brought up the defensive line, quite a few characters on that defensive line.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about some of those little special traditions that your defensive line would do.
So I guess one thing that always like was brought up with defensive line is our obsession with a stick ball. So we had it was just a wiffle ball football that was attached to a stick that we've had since my freshman year, and it's pretty much just what we do to like simulate the ball being hiked and all that, but like we kind of take a little bit too much pride in it, and also like we protect it a little bit too much, I would say. So there's a lot of times where we get pretty aggressive around it towards like the offensive linemen who would try to mess with us in terms of and steal our stick ball. So that was one thing that we would always have to deal with. So that was pretty fun. So
who was the keeper of the stick ball? Coach Dunker?
It was actually Brett. Brett took it upon himself to make sure that stick ball was safe.
So Brett was the defender of the stick ball.
He was, yes.
Seeing it again, that's like a new thing. Brett did not admit to that. Maybe he didn't want to admit that he slept with the ball or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got the stick ball, and then I know you guys were big into chants pregame and practice.
Right game.
So what was that about?
So Brett would come up with like just a clever like little chant to do that was just between like the defensive linemen, and then afterwards we would just all start screaming and chanting something, right, and just confuse the entire defense in terms of what we do, because I guess what we want to do is just be like that group that we're obviously, with us being just a unique position in terms of like we're not a normal defensive line. We always just like to like show that we're just our own kind of group there. So we always do something special like that.
Oh, nice. So when you think about the times with the guys, from the team, what are some of the best memories when it comes to that?
I feel just the normal conversations we would have, just the funny. We would just always joke around with each other because I mean we were all in it together. We had one goal, so we would always just pretty much get to just stand around and just joke around, and just those moments just where you're focused on the same goal, but you're also just focused on like enjoying the most out of this opportunity that we're given. So that was just really fun to deal with.
Now I know your parents have always been huge, supporters of the athletic programs and stuff. What has that support kind of meant to you and your relationship with your folks?
Oh, it's huge. They always push me to be the best I can be. They push me to put 100% of my effort into it. And if something doesn't go my way, they're always there to just help me out and get through it and all that. So they've always just pushed me through my journey and just helped me like grow as a person.
Great. Now, you had mentioned a couple of the coaches that were important to you, and Coach Smith and Coach Dunker. Who were a couple faculty folk or staff that really made a huge impact on you?
Mr. Benson, who was my engineering teacher for a year, my sophomore year, it was probably one of the most fun classes I've had, even though it was probably one of the worst like classes curriculum wise. He was able to actually make it fun, and like all of us enjoy it because every day we would come to his antics of just him joking around with us, and actually he would actually like really get close to us and like make a different like type of relationship that I'm not used to and seeing with teachers. And it was just more of a personal like friendship relationship with him, and it was just really fun to hang out with him and just deal with what he was at, just enjoy his jokes that he would always throw out or his tangents that he would go on. So that was just he was a really fun teacher to deal with.
Nice. And who else had a similar impact on you?
Mrs. Body, she actually made math fun for once with also being a really hard
Once.
class. It was really fun just to deal with just have Mrs. Body teach just and actually help me learn. Because I mean, I feel like if I wouldn't have learned calculus as much as I did, because she pretty much went out of her way to do whatever she could to help you. Like in terms of like during this virus, she's done more than I would have expected her to do. Like with obviously continuing with our notes and then giving us extra reviews and all that, and giving us like a cheat sheet that we could have and like study over before the test and all that. So it was really nice just to have a teacher that would like go to every extent to make sure you exceed.
So obviously that was an AP Calc, right?
Yeah.
So are all your AP tests behind you, or you got any still coming?
No, I'm all done finally.
Oh, nice. So tell me how different was it? Did you take some AP tests last year? Because obviously it's
I
probably
did,
big
yeah.
difference. So what was the big difference this year, and what did you think about them?
I was just surprised by how short they were, which was kind of scary because your entire grade would like rely on like a 45-minute test that you would take, and like before you knew it, you had gone through two problems and it was done. So that was really just hard to deal with in terms of just you weren't really sure what you were going to get out of those two problems because it could be anything from the entire year. So you just had to deal with like a really short test with all the knowledge that you could pretty much have
Now this was for Calc, or for what
for
were the
everything
AP
pretty
tests?
much.
What were the AP tests you took this year?
So I took AP German, AP Calc, and AP Environmental Science.
Okay. Okay. So tell me about those classes, and tell me about German, because you guys would always be a tight little group. The few, the proud, the
Yeah.
Germans.
So my AP German class was very interesting this year. So it was a very small class. So we were all just working pretty much as closely together and just helping each other succeed as much as possible. And that was just such a hard class because I mean you're pretty much gotten to the point where you're expected to like listen to like full conversations of German and understand what they're saying and all that and just be able to speak it. Not, I mean, I wouldn't say fluently. They're not that demanding of you, but they're just they're looking for really good control over the language, which was really hard because leading up to that, I mean, German for me has been pretty easy, and this was one of the hardest challenges that I've taken on, just having to pretty much throw myself into it and just where I'm given the hardest prompts that they have for German and then like have to respond as fast as possible. That was really tough for me.
Who were the other people that were in that class with you? You said small group.
It was a a lot of people that actually don't play. I don't think there's anyone that was on the football team other like that was in AP German. I mean, originally it was gonna be like Michael Eschweiler decided that he was gonna join AP German, but then flaked out at the last minute, which I'm upset that he didn't suffer with me. But it was like people. Nick Kappen was one of my closest, and Josh Shear. They were a bunch of people that I had that they would help me. And Ty Verbansik. We were all working together to get through this terrible class.
Was it really that bad?
It was a struggle. It was a lot of work throughout the year.
Was that Mr. Higgins, or who was
Yeah, it
it?
was. Yeah.
Okay. And you had him. So how is that, having the same teacher all 4 years?
It was really nice because I mean he's a really good fun teacher to have. He was really goofy and he made the language fun until I mean just AP German
Until
was
AP.
yeah, well that wasn't necessarily his fault. That's just the curriculum that he's forced to give us, which is just not fun. Like, cause when he can actually make his own curriculum for German, and like do his own thing, he's a lot more fun. But when you have to actually do like grammar all the time, it's a lot different.
Now, when you think back, other than your classes, I mean, what are those kind of boring, mundane things that you just wish, hey, I wish I still could have gone back and done that at school?
To be fair, just going to class is kind of something I miss. Just every day you just show up at school. I mean, when you're there, you're like, oh, I just want to get out of here. But like this past month has made me realize that like the taking classes at home is just not fun. I mean, when you have people around you to like actually like lighten up just like the day in terms of you can hang out with them during school days and just joke around with them while learning at the same time. I mean, that's something I kind of took for granted and never realized like how important it was until I started doing online school.
So, what with the quarantine? What have you learned about yourself during this time?
I like people a lot more than I thought I did, is what I learned. So I'm not as introverted as I thought. So I really need to just get out as much as possible and see people as much as possible is what I've learned.
Now, were there things that you did just to get out of the house on your own?
I normally like just almost a lot of the times during the week I just go out and just go for a drive. Just I don't really have a destination in mind. I just drive around until I just want to go home pretty much. So I just drive around and just enjoy like scenery and all that just with the windows down now that it's warm. It's just really nice to do that.
So, heading up into Wisconsin or McHenry County, or how far have you taken your travels?
Yeah, I would just anywhere. McHenry County, I've gone close to Wisconsin a couple times, but I just drive wherever I want to, just wherever I go, and just so I can just relax and just like kind of get away from like just the house, so I can
Sure,
just get new stimulation into me. So
sure. Now, did you get a chance to partake in the graduation drive-by?
I did, yeah.
Tell us about that. What was going on there, and what'd you do?
Um, that was it was very abnormal, I would say. Just not used to like I was obviously expecting something like an actual graduation is what everyone had in mind from the get-go, but it was nice just seeing like all of my teachers for the last time, or not last time, but for the first time in a while, and just being able to like just wave back at them and just like see their like not just see their faces and all that, which was really nice.
Now, did you meet up somewhere ahead of time? Did you decorate your car? I mean, what was
My
that like?
parents decorated the car, but I didn't really meet up anywhere ahead of time.
Okay, so parents decorated a car. I don't even know what kind of car were you in. Was it one where you're able to stick out of it and through a sunroof or something? Or
Yeah, it was, yeah. So
oh, okay. So you're like hanging out, waving at everyone like the
my
king.
my mom had a different idea where she put the fat head that was made of me
Yeah.
out the sunroof, and I just sat in the passenger seat and waved to everyone. So the fat head was on display for everyone.
Well, which picture was it better? You got the fat head in the room?
I do not. I don't know where that thing went.
Oh, okay. Because you had someone like Matt Laux that like sleeps with his. It was like right over his headboard, so a little creepy. But
Yeah. No, my dog actually hates the fat head, so you have to kind of hide it in the garage, I think, is where it is right now, because she starts barking at it, so can't
now
really keep it in the house.
what kind of pooch do you have?
I have a boxer.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So what kind? How old's your boxer?
I think she's 7 years old.
And what's her name?
Xena.
Xena.
Hmm.
So is that going to be one of when you go away to U of I? What are you going to miss most?
I'm definitely gonna miss my dog. She's always just nudging me and just trying to get me to pet her. It's just, I mean, she may annoy me, but I just love the dog. So that's one thing I'm gonna and obviously just being around my family all the time is one thing I'll miss. So
Sure, but at least you're a little closer than your brother.
definitely, yeah, a lot
And
closer.
and now I don't know what your parents are going to do because now there's going to be nobody around.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what they're gonna do either. To be fair,
Is mom shedding tears yet?
no, not yet. We'll have to wait for those a couple more months, and maybe if I do go to school, if I don't go to school, she'll be happy that I'm staying home for a little bit longer. But if I do, she'll be pretty sad being the last child to leave.
Yeah, I got a feeling you wouldn't be thrilled taking e-learning to start your freshman semester.
Definitely not.
Now, have you done like orientation or any of that kind of stuff for U of I yet online?
Not yet. No, I think that's coming up pretty soon though.
Oh, so they got some stuff scheduled?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now, did you have a preference on what kind of room? I don't know. I think they've been building some new dorms and such, right, at U of I?
Yeah, I don't think I really care too lot about where I'm going. I more just was looking for a roommate that I could actually like enjoy hanging out with. Is
Okay.
what I was more focused on because I mean, where you live is where you live. I mean, in terms of college, you're never really gonna get a good dorm. I mean, there's no such thing as like a great dorm where you're gonna love like being in it. Like it's just, I mean, but having someone that will actually like pass the time and like you'll enjoy like actually living with them was probably what I was more focused on.
Okay. Okay. So you're going to be like more community style,
Yeah,
where it's going to be one big room and a bathroom down the hall kind of thing.
probably.
Okay. Okay. Now, you know the term once a wolf, always a wolf.
Yeah.
What's that mean to you?
Uh, oof. I guess it just means that no matter where you go in life, you always have the brotherhood that like from like the football team and the school. Just you'll always have that brotherhood and just that family that you can fall back on. Like when you come back to town or just anywhere you go, just there will always be someone that you can probably reach out to, and then they'll help you out no matter what.
Well said. Well said. How about I always kind of want to end on what's a little quirky, goofy thing about you that nobody knows?
Oof.
Maybe only your family, but something just a hidden talent, something that you like doing.
Huh. Let me think. Hmm.
I mean, are you a hopeless romantic? You read love stories for
No, no, no. Um. Huh. That's a tough question.
Well, I won't make you stew too much, but
Yeah.
so if you were singing in the shower right now, what would you be singing?
Um. I've listened to like a lot of R&B. Surprisingly, I've actually gone actually since football. I've started to go away from more of the hip hop and started going towards more R&B because I enjoy listening to songs that aren't as energy inducing. I just kind of like to relax when I listen to music, so I go towards a lot of that when I'm listening to music. So,
So what would be what's playing up? What are you piping in now?
um, The Weeknd and John Bellion are some of my top artists that I listen to.
And you can tell I'm not a current R&B guy. Have no idea.
Yeah.
Are those mainstream R&B guys? I
Kind
think
of.
I've heard the Weekend. I think
Weekend
I've
is
heard of the
more
Weekend.
Weekend is more mainstream. John Bellion is not necessarily, but he's pretty up there.
Okay, got it. Now, so since I stalled for you, did you think of kind of that quirky thing?
Um, I don't know, just the fact that I love water skiing is probably what my weird
Oh,
thing is. That like I've learned a while ago, and I just like every year I go up to Maine because we have a cabin up there, and I like to water ski every time I get a chance.
oh, that's great. So, is this a family cabin, or did your parents just
Yeah,
buy one?
no, my great grandfather built it, so we have a cabin up there. So,
Oh, that's awesome. Where in Maine is the cabin?
Bridgeton, it's about an hour west of I think Portland.
Oh, okay. So kind of in the center. Is that kind of in the center of the
It's
state?
it's it's more yeah the south central part of the state.
Yeah. Now, is this like in the middle of nowhere, kind of in the wild?
It's actually it's yes and no. You have to travel a far distance to get out. It's on a lake, so there's a lot of people on the lake, so it's pretty much it's a huge lake in terms of like people coming out there from Massachusetts. They all go up there and have like a house up there and all that, but it's far out. It's maybe 10 minutes outside of the town.
Okay. So it's not necessarily a lake where you're going to have black bear or moose roaming through that
No, I
often.
mean you could, but not it's less likely.
Okay. So what's the fun activity when you guys are there generally? Take us through a week at the lake house.
Oh.
Did you hear me?
Um,
Okay.
yeah, I heard you.
you caught?
We have a boat up there, so we tube and water skiing is a huge activity, and just relaxing on the dock and swimming is what we normally do. It's just we use the cabin to get away from just regular like phones and all that. So we just go up there, relax, and enjoy the nature.
Is that a lake where you could drop a line in and fish off the
Yeah,
dock or
we
something?
fish all the time up there. Yeah.
What's the prime fish in that lake?
Um, Mostly bass. There's a lot, and bass and catfish are huge up there.
Okay.
I haven't really caught a whole lot out there. Next time I go up there, I'm probably gonna take our smaller fishing boat out there and try to get somewhere where it's not really off the dock, and I can hopefully catch some bigger fish than I'm used to.
Nice. So when are you guys scheduled to go?
Hopefully end of June.
Nice. So you kind of spend the 4th of July up there too?
Yeah, seeing as not much is going on down here, we were thinking of just spending a lot of time up there because, I mean, it's better to be looking at a lake than our backyard.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. And that. So, well, awesome. Well, I appreciate this time. I appreciate getting to know you better. It's exciting to hear the success you're going to have because
Thank you.
getting that double E degree out of U of I is going to set you on a great path. And so appreciate you being a great example for the class of 2020 and look forward to hearing more.
All right. Thank you.
I forgot to ask you. So, have you learned to drop a ski yet and do it with one ski, or are you still?
No, not yet. I'm not that good yet, but that's the next step.
So maybe this summer you could drop a ski. Now I don't know. Normally they tell you. I think they say drop a ski instead of starting on one ski, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
to get up
a lot easier.
Now, how's your brother? Is he any good skiing?
He doesn't really attempt to ski.
He doesn't?
No.
So are you the only skier in the family? Or is your dad ski or your mom?
I have older cousins that do it, but I mean that's only when they come up. I haven't seen. No, most people don't really ski anymore. I'm one of the few people that still skis in my family.
So you gotta get your dad out there skiing.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Heck, he was in the Navy. Come on, he shouldn't be afraid of water.
Yeah.